Welcome. In this video I'm going to show you how you can analyze a single scale variable using Microsoft Excel and my stikpetE add-in. My add-in is available on my GitHub account, so you can download the stikpetE.xlam file from there. Once you downloaded the file, open Excel, go for File Options, Add-ins and click on the Go button. And then browse for the file, and that should give you access to a lot of additional functions I made. Of course, use at your own risk. I'm going to be using a binned frequency table to get an impression of the data. Then I'll use a histogram to visualize it. I'll determine the mean and the standard deviation just for some basic measures. Then I'll perform a one sample student t-test to see if the mean is significantly different from a specified value. And last but not least, I'll use Cohen's d for one samples as an effect size measure. There are of course alternatives for visualizations. You could either use also a box plot or a stem and leaf plot. There are different measures. Quite a few different types of means or measures of variation, and also of location with quartiles and quantiles. Besides the t-test, you can use a z-test if that's okay to be used, or a trimmed mean, and sometimes referred to as a Juan test. Alternative effect sizes could be hedges G, and actually also the common language effect size. Alright, let's dive into the example. So I have all my data in column A. It's just all numeric data. Important with the functions from my add-in is that you never specify an entire column, but really the first and the last cell. As you can see here, I first created a quick frequency table. Using bins, it simply selects the number of bins automatically, but you can adjust that if you want. Looking at this, it's always a little bit hard to see. It is using frequency densities as well. It wasn't really necessary because I think in this case the bin widths are all the same, so then you don't really have to use these. But it gives a first quick impression. Seems like there's a majority in the 200s around here, so that's between 30 and 66, and then it starts dropping off again. We might actually prefer to see this visually, and yes, here is a histogram. I have a separate video on how you can do that. I don't have a separate function for it because this is fairly straightforward with, this is doable with Excel itself. So it looks like there's a bit of a decline starting at actually 52.3 and then downwards. But let's see what the average actually is, was 48.1935. As a measure of dispersion, so how much does this variate around this mean of 48? Well, it's about 17 years plus or minus that. So it's roughly the average distance to the mean, although strictly speaking it's about the average squared difference, and then brought back by using a square root to a more normal scale. Let's say I'm interested to see if somebody, if there's a significant test that we can perform. So let's assume that we have 50. Oh, I actually need to specify that then, because now it's using a mu of 50, but I want it to use a of 53, so this should be a mu of 50. So let's say I want to see if it's actually significantly different from 50. And in this case, that I'm using a student t-test. The most important one is here is this value that's far below the 0.05 usual threshold. So we would say there's a significant difference from the expected 50. But we should also use an effect size measure. There are a few, but let's use Cohen's d. It's quite a popular one to be used. There's a function for that as well. And in this case, that's minus 0.3. We can actually convert that to a regular Cohen's d, because this is specifically for one sample. So by using the ES_convert function, so that we can then use Cohen's d rule of thumb. There are a few people who actually have done that, but the default setting is to use Sabulovsky's criterion, and according to that person, this would be considered a small effect size. All right. I hope this was helpful. And if you're interested, the alternatives are also in the file itself. So for the box plot, I have a video on how to create those. For the stem and leaf, I did make a small function, but in this case, with so many data points, it's usually not the best option. Alternative measures are the mean, the quartiles, quantiles, and measures of quantitative variation. They're all available in different functions. Interquartile range, semi-interquartile range, and the interquartile range itself. Sorry, this is actually the mean quartile range or mid-quartile range, not the interquartile range, because that's already up here. Alternative test, one sample Z test using a standard normal distribution. If your sample size is large enough, this usually gives a very similar result. Strictly speaking, you should then know the population variance. Or a trend mean test, and again also here that one is below the usual threshold of 0.05. Alternative effect sizes could be hedges G or the common language effect size. Alright, I hope this video was helpful and thank you for watching.